Hey everyone, this is Jasmine checking in for Mighty Grayson's page. Today we're going to be doing our nighttime routine. So what that looks like for bath time, preparing for trach care, doing trach care, and just getting Grayson ready for the rest of the night. So stay tuned and watch what our routine looks like for every night. So what we do first is just getting Grayson ready to go into the bathtub. So I'm going to start by taking off his pole socks, just undressing him, and getting him in the bathtub. Take the pole socks off his toe here. Are you so ready for bath time? Let's get you right on. For me personally, I leave his feeding tube in. Just because it doesn't bother anything, it's okay if that gets wet. Here's baby Tian.
Surprise!
And he left me a surprise. So I'm gonna clean this up, get him in the bathtub, and we'll be right back. So for me personally, as of now, I find it easier just to use the baby bathtub. We are getting some bigger equipment for Grayson, but we're still waiting for that to come in so we can actually use it in the big bathtub. So what I'm gonna do now is just go ahead and give him his bath, and after that, we'll prepare trach care. So. And of course, he loves to unplug himself. It's his party trick. Come on. Grayson has really sensitive skin, so we use the Aveeno. This seems to be the best choice for bathing him. So after bathing, what I do is take the bathtub, set it to the side. I'm gonna go and set up for trach care. We got Grayson chilling in his little towel here. This is his favorite part after bath time, just to enjoy his towel area and just relax. Loves being naked. Alright, so setting up for trach care. Things that I use, I need a trach tie for soft gauze, and I also need a piece of Methalex. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out, get everything set up, and get ready for trach care. So I start with water. I'm gonna put water on my first one. And just a little note here, so when I open my gauze, I have two, so I set one out on either side. So when you think about it, you want to think of it as your wash, your rinse, your dry, and your powder. So for me personally, I like water on my wash. Some people do it with, some people do it without. Totally up to you. So, all right, so put water on both my first two pads. Add a little soap to that first one. Then I'm gonna grab my powder, put it on my fourth one. And then I'm gonna powder my tray tie. So I'm just gonna make sure everything's straight on it. No issues here. I'm gonna add some powder. And then I rub it in just to make sure that it is absorbed. All right, so I'm gonna pull everything over here. Even though I just baked it, I'm gonna go ahead and get some Germex. Go ahead and throw a diaper on the baby. Oh, you guys can get a full visual of what our tray care looks like. Are you trying to tell them? All right, so I have him on a towel here, and we're gonna do hair and lotion after we finish tray care. I just prefer to do this, that way he's nice and clean. We got him dry before we start adding all that moisture. All right, so I've already got him on his neck roll. You can't see it, but it's under the towel. I'm just gonna roll it and make sure it's under his shoulders. Comfortable position. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my trach. Let me adjust you guys so you can see a little bit better. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab my trach. And then I'm gonna start by undoing each side. So I'm gonna undo one side of the tray tie. He loves the help, so he's gonna turn his head. And I'm gonna pull it through to the other side of the neck. And then we're gonna unvelcro it. Sometimes you may have to start from the side that it's actually velcro through the loop of the trach, because when it gets wet, it feels like it gets a little stickier. So for this one, it's just been a little difficult. So I'm going to hold the trach, hold it closer so I can do two hands. Got it out. We're going to take out our Mepilex. All right, time to sew. And you notice he's coughing. He always does this whenever we get ready to start trach care. I don't know if it's just the movement of the trach in his neck and it just feels a little funny, whatever that may be. But he always does that. All right, one side down. Gonna do the other side. Rinse. Clean around my trach. Clean the neck. Just gonna roll his head a little bit and get behind there. Do the same thing to the other side. All right, now it's time to dry. So going around the trach, getting the back of the neck good. It's really important that you make sure you dry everything. You want to make sure the neck is dry so that way you get any fungus or anything like that that may grow. All right, so now it is time for powder. So powder, I just work with them whichever way that he's turned to. I'll start on that side and then vice versa for the other. So I kind of lean his head a little bit so that I get in those neck rolls. And I'm just going to get my powder in there. Alright, going to do the same thing for the other side. Just turn his neck a little bit, still holding on to my trach. right, now time for the maple legs. So for the maple legs, I slide it to the front of the trach, get it nudged all the way to the bottom of the trach at the neck, and then I lift the flange and slide it right under. Trust me, it sounds easier than it looks easier than it is. Lift up the flange, slide under. All right. This is another reason I like to keep the towel here, because Grayson's pretty slobbery, so that way we can try to keep everything as dry as possible. All right, now time for the trach tie. So this is the purpose for having the loops. When you have the loops, you can pop it open with one hand, and it makes it easier. So we're gonna slide in on the side closest to me. Loop it down as tight as it'll go. Undo my other loop, lift his head, pull as tight as it will go. All right, and we're gonna tighten the other side. I know moms, they have preferences of how tight they prefer it. For me, I like to have a finger. If I can get a finger, I'm pretty content with that. I don't like to have two fingers when I go into my loops or beside his neck for tightness, because with Grayson, he's really slobbery, he moves around a lot, so it just makes it easier for the trach to pop out. And that's just from our personal experience. Everyone's a little bit different in what they prefer and what they like, but just for us. So when I say that, what I do is I turn his head, trach tie, stick my finger in there. Perfect. One finger. You want to make sure that you do that on both sides, because sometimes you may have a little bit more slack on the other. Which his are perfect. So that is trach hair. And usually what I'll do too, oh, don't do that, is I'll go ahead and clean his GJ tube while I have him on the table here. So same thing, take a gauze. You can also do this while you're in the bathtub as well. So I'm gonna take some gauze. Just use some of the same soap that I used for trach hair, very soft, mild soap. And I'm just gonna clean around his GJ tube. Clean the site, make sure we have any mucus off, any dead skin. All right, now I'm gonna take my dry pad and dry it. You want to keep this as dry as possible, which is usually why it's recommended to put either a piece of gauze, a piece of Mepilex, or on YouTube, they have special J-tube pads that you can use. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so we have these here, just little snot buttons, and this is what we use just to keep that site dry and keep it from just getting any juices around. So this is the biggest part of Grayson's care at night that we do, aside from just dressing him, spending time with him. But we love to do the bath and the trach care, something special, just a bonding time for us to spend together. Usually I do that with Grayson during the week. Our nurse does it with them because he enjoys it. He really likes having his bath time, just relaxing, enjoying the water. Or even if we're giving him just a good wipe down, he likes to feel clean. Grayson's gonna let you know when you skip bath time, which we never do that around here, even if we have to do just a quick wipe down. Even with trach care, we never skip trach care. We do it every single day. Doesn't matter how long the day's been, we're gonna do trach care because it's really important to keep that site around the neck very dry and very clean. If not, you can get sores, which causes discomfort for them, causes issues in the long run. So it's really important that you do take the time and make sure that you are keeping that site clean. So because now we have the GJ tube, it's important to tack this because it's not supposed to turn around and swivel. So what I'm gonna do is take a piece of tape, I'm gonna put it down on each side and kind of just clasp it so that way his extension will stay in place. All right, so I've got my tape here. Take a decent length off here. So I'm gonna take about this much. You can use more, use less, your preference. So what I do is go around the extension, put some of the tape together, and the rest of the tape goes on his skin. That just helps keep that piece where it's supposed to be. And that's our nightly routine.